I'm Bridgette with PotomacBeads.com. Join me today in creating these forest earrings using the EVA Beads, IrisDuos, and Helios Par Pucas. If you do need any of those materials, they were listed at the beginning of the video, as well as below me in the description area. You'll find links to PotomacBeads.com and PotomacBeads.eu, where you can find a full list of the exact colors I used for these videos. So gather up your materials and come create with me. So to start our forest earrings, I already have a stop bead on the end of my thread here. So I'm going to just start going through my EVAs, and then an O bead, and then up through the Helios, and let that fall down to the stop bead. And over top the Helios, I'm going to pick up 3 11s and then come down through that second hole of the Helios. And then pick up one more O bead and down through that second hole of my EVA bead. So we have kind of one of the points of our earrings here, and in between each one of these little sections I'm going to put in an IrisDuo. So I'll go through my one IrisDuo, and then I'll go through and make a second point. So again, up through my EVA, through an O bead, and up through my Helios, and then pick up 3 of your 11s and down through that second hole of your Helios, picking up another O bead, and then down through that second hole of your EVA. So there you can see we have 2 of our points. So we're going to do the same, pick up one more of our IrisDuos, going up through our EVA, picking up an O bead and your last Helios, adding on 3 of your 11s, going down that second hole of the Helios, and one more O bead through your EVA bead, and we have our third point there. So to connect these, I'm going to pick up my last IrisDuo, and I'm going to take off that stop bead that I had, and I'm just going to go ahead and tie a knot with my tail end of my thread. So we'll have our point, we'll have our point here, and I'm going to go ahead and tie my knot right there. So once you have that knot trimmed down, I'm still coming out of that IrisDuo here, so I'm going to make my way up through my EVA bead and my O bead, and coming up through my Helios, I'm going to pick up 1 15 and go through my 3 11s, and then pick up another 15 and down through my Helios and my O bead. So you want to stop before you go through your EVA. So coming out of my O bead here, I'm going to pick up my bicone and go through that second hole of my IrisDuo. and pick up another bicone and go up through the O bead and your Helios. So we're just kind of filling in the gaps with our bicones. So again, before going through those 11s, I want to pick up a 15 and go through the 3 11s. And another 15 down through just the O bead. And add on your bicone. So we'll do this around until we come up to our point on the opposite side. So just adding on our bicones and our 15-os. So after you've made your way around, adding in your bicones and your 15s, you're gonna come out. I am up on top of my Helios and coming out of that first 15-o that we added on. So coming out of that 15, I'm gonna add on 4 more 15s and go through my briolette here, and this is the 5x8 briolettes, and add on 4 more 15s and go through your 15 here on the opposite side. Just like that. And here I'm gonna make my way all the way up to my IrisDuo here at the top. So you're just going through that outer edge, just what you've already beaded, and coming out of this IrisDuo. So coming out of our IrisDuo up here at the top, so I made my way all the way around, I'm gonna pick up 3 15s, 1 11, and 3 more 15s. And I'm gonna go into my IrisDuo, my new IrisDuo that I'm adding on. I'm gonna make kind of a crisscross here. So I'm coming out of my left-hand side hole here, and I wanna go into the right side hole of the new IrisDuo. And from there, I'm gonna add on 3 more 15s, and I'm gonna go through that 11 that we already have down here. So I'm gonna go down through that 11, and then add 3 more 15s. And here I'm gonna go through my second hole, or that top hole of my IrisDuo. And here you want to pull, make sure you kind of have all your thread pulled nice and tight. So you kind of want to work that through until you have a nice little crisscross there. So I'm going to go back through that first row, so back through that diagonal here, through the 3 15s and the 11 and the 15s on the opposite side. And here I'm going to add 4 of my 15s. And go through the next hole of my IrisDuo. So So we're just kind of working on an outline around our top IrisDuo. So coming out of that hole, I'm going to add 4 more of my 15s. And I'm going to go down through my second diagonal, so down through these 3 and that 11 and the next 3. So through these seed beads on the diagonal. And I'm going to go through my IrisDuo again and go up through the opposite diagonal. So through my IrisDuo and again up through my diagonal seed beads all the way up to those last 4 that we just added on. Oops. And then through all of your 15s on this one side. Oops. And so here, what we're going to do is go back through my IrisDuo. And we're going to work on the opposite side, and I'm going to add on my earring stud. So I'm using these flowered earring studs with a little hoop, but what I'm going to do is kind of attach the earring stud to the back of this. So coming out of my IrisDuo, I'm going to go up through the loop and back down through the same hole that I came out of. So on the same side of my IrisDuo. And I'm going to pull that. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. So again, going up into that loop on the end of your earring stud. And then back through that same hole on your IrisDuo, so going the opposite direction. And then just kind of lay it where it's just sitting on your IrisDuo and just pull your thread nice and tight. And so you want to do this just a couple times, so I'm going to do it again. So going up into that loop, and then down into my IrisDuo, and again up into the loop and back through my IrisDuo. And so now, working from my opposite side, I'm going to go back down through all of my seed beads. So again, coming down through my diagonal and then back up through the opposite diagonal. So down through all of your seed beads, on your one side, and then through the diagonal, and this is just so that we have a nice seam with our seed beads so that there's not a gap when we're adding on our border around our IrisDuo. So now I'm down back at the beginning of my seed beads, going through that IrisDuo, and now I'm going to go back up through that second diagonal. So up through those 15s. So since we are going through our 15s quite a bit, you do probably want to make sure that you are using a size 12 needle. The 10s and 11s are going to be a little bit bigger, so it might be a little bit harder to get through those 15s. As well as your thread, I'm using a 0.006 thread. It's the 0.006 Wildfire. So you do want to make sure you are using the thinner thread and not the 0.008. Because again, that's going to be a little bit harder to get through those 15s all those multiple times. So here I am at the top of my 15s here, and I'm going to add on about 5 seed beads. Just at a time. Okay, so 5. So we'll want 9 seed beads in total. And I'm going to come down into my seed beads on the other side. And pull that nice and tight. So we have kind of our little border around our IrisDuo there. So now we are finished, and what we want to do is just make our way down where we can tie off a knot. So I'm going to come down through all my seed beads one more time. And bring around my thread to a spot where it's good to tie a knot. So probably right next to my bicone and my O bead here. And you are going to get a little bit tight here in this last kind of go through of your seed beads. So if you need to kind of use some pliers to pull that through, kind of gently pull that through, it will help some. Okay, so here I am coming through the last of my 15s here. So I'm going to go through that bicone that's right on the end. And go ahead and tie my knot right there. Just make sure that's nice and tight. You can go ahead and trim that down. Now if you want to, just to make sure this is super secure here, so you can see I have that sewn on. If you want, you can put a little tiny dab of super new glue, just kind of right in that little loop, just to kind of make sure that it is nice and secure there and not going anywhere. And there we have it. We have our forest earrings here. Thank you for joining, and I hope you enjoyed creating your own forest earrings. Remember, if you do need any of the materials, go ahead and click on the link down below in the description area, and that'll take you to PotomacBeads.com, where you'll find a full list of the materials and colors that I used. As always, we'd love to hear from you, so make sure to comment below as well. I'd love to see how this video helped inspire your own designs. Also, if you do want to be kept up to date with any updates on new videos or new content that we have for you, make sure to subscribe by clicking on that bell button. So again, thanks for joining, and I'll see you next time.